after one man is found dead in Lemon Grove. Details in a live report.
San Diego Unified's former superintendent denies the claims against him that led to his termination.
A mountain lion sighting in Rancho Santa Fe near several horse ranches.
We'll introduce you to two best friends from high school who cooked up a dream for a sweet new business.
A national news spot is changing the lives of artisans in Afghanistan. How a local mother is making a difference.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts right now.
There was a car there that they took away, and it had bullet holes and blood on it.
We begin tonight with a neighbor recounting the scene where a 23-year-old man was found shot to death in Lemon Grove. And tonight, police are looking for his killer. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
And I'm Steve Price. In tonight for Carlos. CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes has been following this story for you. She joins us now live from the scene. Kirsten, a scary situation out there for sure. That neighbor you talked with says the community typically safe.
That's right. I'm here on Dane Court in Lemon Grove, where just feet behind me, that 23-year-old man was found shot at least once in the torso. Now, I talked to a neighbor who says not only did he hear several gunshots, he also saw someone get away.
And then all of a sudden, around 10:57, they hear a loud bang. And I said, oh my goodness, because in the same place, I think it was around 4th of July, they had a shooting here and 3 people were injured.
Alex Schiller has lived in this house for 15 years. Wednesday night, just before 11, sheriff's deputies say several calls came in to report shots fired in the 2200 block of Dane Court. Deputies found a 23-year-old man who had been shot in the street. First responders tried to save him, but he died there at the scene. Alec describes what happened after he heard several gunshots.
I saw a guy run to the car and was sitting right there, and he jumped in and they drove off. And I called 911, and then a few minutes later, they had a lot of police here. Right here, you won't see much of it now, but there was a whole bunch of blood, and there was a whole pile of blood because the body was there. And then there was, his shoes were here, and then there was markings, there was a whole bunch of bullet holes, bullet casings here, there.
And despite hearing those gunshots and seeing what looked like the shooter get away, Schiller says this Lemon Grove neighborhood is typically safe.
Not at all, except for across the street a few years ago, there was a shooting there.
Lemon Grove Mayor Raquel Vasquez says shootings, specifically murders across Lemon Grove, don't happen often. Okay, so sheriff's deputies are still looking for the shooter in this case. If you know anything that could help, please call Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen. That number is 858-580-8477. Now, we asked sheriff's deputies for crime stats on the area to get an accurate count on how often shootings or murders happen in this area, and we are still waiting to hear back. Alec and the other neighbors we talked to say that this is typically a quiet area, and they believe that this was a targeted shooting. They hope that the person responsible is found soon. Reporting for CBS 8, I'm Kirsten Holmes. Back to you.
Thank you, Kirsten. 2 men are facing charges tonight stemming from a body found buried in Balboa Park. 28-year-old Brandon Weingarten was arrested yesterday. He is accused of helping bury the body, which was found 2 months ago off the 163 near Richmond Street. The body was identified as that of 43-year-old James Garcia. Investigators believe he was shot by 41-year-old Jeffrey Jones near the grave site in late May. Jones was arrested in July and is due in court next month. Weingarten is set to be arraigned tomorrow. A motive for the shooting remains unclear.
Immigration advocacy groups are expressing concern tonight over anti-immigrant rhetoric that's being amplified in the presidential race. Leaders from organizations including America's Voice and National Urban League held a Zoom call today. They are worried that some of the rhetoric against Haitian immigrants is going to turn violent and spread into other minority communities.
We have seen extreme rhetoric lead to extreme violence and extreme slogan or coded words like invasion or replacement or biggest mass deportation in American history fosters fear and hate.
The groups went on to urge people to stand up and speak out against this harmful rhetoric.
The former superintendent of the San Diego Unified School District is denying claims of sexual harassment filed against him. This is the first time we've heard from Lamont Jackson since his termination.
CBS 8's David Gottfredson has more on Jackson's response and why a complaint that was filed against him 14 months ago never made it to the school board until last week.
The Board of Education and the superintendent have mutually agreed that separation is in the best interest of the district.
It's been 20 days since the president of the San Diego School Board announced the termination of Superintendent Lamont Jackson, releasing the results of an investigation that found Jackson had allegedly engaged in sexual harassment of 2 former subordinates.
The allegation of inappropriate conduct toward 2 former employees was found to be credible.
Now, for the first time, we are hearing from Jackson. In a written statement, he said, quote, "I take considerable exception to the claims which have been made against me. The information is hardly an accurate reflection of my interactions with these 2 former employees. I am emphatic that the characterization of me is completely inaccurate." The school district started investigating the sexual harassment allegations in April of this year. But in July of last year, a group of concerned principals mailed this letter complaining about Jackson to the Administrators Association of San Diego City Schools.
It had my name and address on it, and then my name and address as the return address, and usually that's not good.
The executive director of the Administrators Union, Donis Cornell, says she forwarded the letter to a high-ranking operations executive at the district.
Although it was anonymous, it seemed serious enough that I felt someone at the school district in authority needed to know about it. So I forwarded it to a cabinet level official.
The letter begins, "Dear board members," but as it turns out, the school board never saw the letter until last week, 14 months after it was mailed. In a statement to CBS 8, the district wrote in part, "An assumption was made that the letter had been shared with the board, even though it was not." David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
David, thank you. And we've posted the former superintendent's full statement as well as full statements from the school district. You can find them on our website, cbs8.com. Today, city crews at Southcrest Trails Park worked to clear brush and debris from the stormwater channels.
Days after the flooding on January 22nd, the city cleared 18 miles of storm channel. But since then, a lot of it has been growing back, so the city is back at it. Residents are happy to see crews in the area, but are still traumatized by what happened in January. They say they hope the crews stick with it.
An invasive species that is aggressive, it grows back quickly, so it does require staff to be out here consistently.
Take bushes out and just keep everything clean so we don't get flooded and we don't get I don't get nightmares.
The city says without an emergency declaration, they're limited to hand tools. They're hoping to have permits by October that will allow them to do more aggressive maintenance. Remember, if there's an issue you'd like us to look into, something happening in your community, email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com. A neighborhood in Rancho Santa Fe is on high alert tonight after a person spotted a mountain lion staring down a coyote in their backyard. Neighbors have been sharing this photo and video of the encounter online to warn others.
CBS 8's Abby Black went out to that area to find out more about this sighting.
Horse trainer Luis Cardenas works out in Rancho Santa Fe. So one of the neighbors sent him a photo of a mountain lion staring down a coyote. He was on alert, especially when he's out there riding his horses and running the trails.
There's so many trails around here.
Luis Cardenas shows us where a mountain lion was spotted nearby in Rancho Santa Fe last week.
Half a mile where I work, it's just like on the other side of this house, so it's so close by.
Cardenas says that his neighbor shared a photo of this big cat staring down a coyote, and he posted it to Nextdoor to alert others of the sighting near El Camino del Norte and Escondido Creek.
Which he said, "Hey, Luis, be careful, because a friend of mine just spotted this in her backyard. So make sure not to be by yourself because it's a big mountain lion." So it's how I got the pictures.
The homeowner, Andy Ballard, tells me that a mountain lion tracker came by earlier this week and is on the big cat's trail via tracks and other home surveillance video. In Ballard's video, you can see the wildlife roaming around in their backyard near the pool, and then you see the mountain lion look around and mosey down the hill.
The canyon runs between those houses over there, and right here, there is a creek.
Experts say that the coyote appears to be preparing to escape. The homeowner posted that the coyote was able to run off down by the creek.
I spoke to the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and while they say it is unusual to have mountain lion sightings in this area, it's not unheard of. They say there is a habitat not far east from here that hosts mountain lions.
Our biologist down there, when I showed him that picture, he said, "That is pretty cool." So that's from a biologist who deals with this all the time.
Tim Daly is the public information officer for the California Department of Fish and Wildlife and says they've not received reports of any threats in this area, but biologists believe the cougar is about 100 to 120 pounds.
Definitely not a juvenile, approaching adult age, but there are some markings on it that aren't completely visible that would help us determine the age.
Daly says that neighbors do not need to be terrified to go outside. Just be alert and don't leave your pets outside alone.
Attacks are very rare. So we tell people that if you come face to face with a mountain lion, whether in your backyard or out on a trail, do your best to be large, be noisy. Whatever you do not run from a mountain lion.
Cardenas says that he's glad to share the sighting to keep neighbors alert. In Rancho Santa Fe, Abby Black, CBS 8.
You know, he can say attacks are rare, but if I say that in my backyard, I'm going to be really nervous.
Yes, I mean, we hear stories, unfortunate stories all the time about mountain lions attacking small pets, people camping, and maybe this mountain lion is a little more acclimated to people and
coyotes as well. I mean, you got both things in that backyard, right?
A lot going on. Right. We're told the coyote escaped and is okay.
That is good. All right, what the U.S. Postal Service is suggesting mail-in voters do before Election Day. That story is still ahead.
Plus, the action California Governor Gavin Newsom is taking to address the housing crisis.
And the best friends honoring their Hispanic heritage with a twist on a traditional treat.
We've had some cool temperatures over the past couple of days. Today was no exception. Also talking about cloud cover that's rolling in all ahead of a storm system that's going to bring us some light showers. So we'll take a look at all those details after the break.